Hi everyone, I'm Huub Hildenbrand. Thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we have the last and third lesson about church modes, and we will really clear this topic and that you really know what you should know. Okay, so let's get right into the endless ocean of music. So today we have the third lesson of about church modes, and please go to the link down below in the description to download the PDF file. It's the same PDF file that goes for lesson 1 and 2 of the church modes, so if you already downloaded it and printed out, maybe to have it in front of you, you don't need to do this for this lesson. So we are referring now to page 6 of this PDF file. The church modes put in systematic order. And we will learn really what all the necessary things about the theory, the necessary knowledge you should know about these church modes. Okay. Very, very important is there is a kind of a system, a kind of a you have different categories of these church modes. When you sang these church modes in lesson 1, you heard they have a different mood. They have different moods. They really some are more happy, some are more sad, some are more bright, some are more dark, and the main moods, you can say, are really in how do you say it? They are really encoded in the first, third, and fifth note of the modes. So the first note is a root, the third note is the third, and the fifth note is the fifth. And these three notes, they form the basic triad. The basic triad, the triad to which this church mode belongs, you can say. And for example, if you have a C major scale, or a C Ionian as we call it in these church modes, you have the basic note C, D, E, F, G, B, A, B, and the first note C, the third note E, and the fifth note G. So you have a C major triad, and this major triad really gives the whole scale its main mood. So it's a major mood, you can say. You will find the same triad, the same C, E, G, in C Lydian and in C Mixolydian. In these three church modes, these three church modes, they belong to the major family, so to speak. So these three modes are more this happy major mood. If we go to the next category, we have minor. And minor, the only difference between major and minor is the third. The third, instead of E, you have an E flat if you start from C. So you have C, E flat, G, first, third, fifth note. And this triad, this chord, C minor chord, puts like a mood on three different modes, three different church modes. It's Aeolian, it's Dorian, and it's Phrygian. These three modes, they go into the category of minor. They have a minor mood, a more sad mood, you can say. And then we have one kind of an exception. There is actually an extra category. It's a mode which doesn't have a perfect fifth. It has actually a diminished fifth. It has a minor third, a diminished fifth, and this triad C, E flat, G flat is a diminished triad, and this diminished triad you find as a basic triad in Locrian. C Locrian has C, E flat, G flat. And because that's actually very how do you say it's very important, a very important fact actually. It's because it doesn't have a perfect fifth, it has a diminished fifth. It's not a very stable sound. The perfect fifth, the G, C G, the perfect fifth, that interval is really giving a lot of stability. It makes the whole scale, the whole sound, the whole mood rest in itself, you can say. So this interval, C, G, it's a really resting interval. C, G, C, G, C, G. It also gives some emphasis to the root, to the C. It actually stabilizes the C and makes the C really sound as a root. That's very interesting. It has a lot to do with the harmonic series, and we will come to this in a later lesson, a later intermediate lesson, I promise. So this interval makes the whole sound stable, makes them rest in itself. Whereas if we make out of the G, we make a G flat, this is not stable. In early times it was called the devil in music, and the devil is not stable. So like this C, G flat, C, G flat, this is a lot of tension, it's a lot of a lot of dissonance, you can say. Okay, so that's also a reason why this Locrian scale is not really, or Locrian church mode is not really used for longer parts in music. I mean, for over a longer time period. If you have like bars, like 3 bars, 4 bars, it's not used for a whole piece. Very rarely in Western music. It's very rarely used for longer periods of time. But it's used in more short periods, it's inserted, you can say, into the Western traditional music to give some dissonance, some spice, you can say, but mainly some dissonance to make even the consonant, the resting sounds even more satisfying, you can say. So it's always in music, it's about dissonance and consonance. And sometimes if you just isolate the dissonance, it's a bit like you miss the floor under your feet in a way. It's like, where is this thing going to? On the other way around, if you have just consonants, it's getting boring after a while. So you always have a balance of dissonance and consonance, and of course there are also different ways to create dissonance and consonance, not just by these intervals, not just by like a perfect fifth or diminished fifth. Okay, just for now, remember Locrian is a little bit like not an exception, but a more rare used church mode. As like a stable sound, as a stable scale for like longer periods of time. It's just more dissonant. So I think if you sang all these in lesson 1, you sang this Locrian scale. you really felt, ooh, this F actually, because it was B Locrian, this diminished fifths of B is F. So this F was really like, hard to sing also. Dissonant intervals are also more hard to sing than consonant intervals. And especially like perfect intervals, like the perfect fifth, the perfect fourth, the perfect unison, or the perfect octave, they are very easy to sing. It's very easy to intonate them, and you really, I mean, so let's not go too much into this, because our topic is church modes. So just remember, we have like 3 church modes which have a perfect fifth, and they are stable. They are considered as kind of stable restful modes, and then you have one extra mode, this Locrian, where the basis is a diminished triad. So you see the main triad really gives the most profound category, the most profound it's the most basic thing. Is it a major church mode? Uses a major triad, or is this in the category of minor, or is it diminished? So these 3 categories are really make the most important difference of these modes. Now, in this major and minor category, you have, in both categories, you have one church mode which is used all the time in our like major minor tonality Western harmony in our music. And these 2 are really the basic scales, the basic minor and the basic major scales. So if you have like if you have a piece which is in F major or in G major, it mainly uses the notes of F major or F Ionian or G Ionian, if it's in G major. The same goes for minor pieces. If you have a piece in A minor, you don't have any sharps or flats in the key signature, because it's the 6th mode of C major. A minor, it's Aeolian. You have just the notes of Aeolian. You understand? You understood it? Understood it? I mean, like if you have a song in C, or let's say in D minor, you say, okay, this is a folk song, or this is a piece by Bach in D minor. You see, as key signature, there's just one B. And when you make up the whole scale, like you have all the notes of the C major scale, but you just lower the B to the B flat. That's what the B is doing. Then you have the F major scale, and the F major scale is the same as D minor, or as in church mode terminology, F Ionian equals D Aeolian, and F Ionian is the major scale used in Western music, key signature, and D Aeolian is the minor scale. So this is also the scale which gives us the proper accidentals for the key signature. I mean the key signature sharps or flats. So these 2 scales, like C major, this is really like the normal, you can say the normal major scale. And C minor, C minor Aeolian is the normal minor scale. Why is this important? Well, it's very simple. In our systematic order of these church modes, we can say C Lydian or Lydian. It's just the same as Ionian, but the fourth note is raised a half step. So C Ionian and C Lydian, the only difference is Lydian has an F sharp, C Lydian has an F sharp, and C Ionian has an F. So that's the way we should think, actually. First we think, okay, I mean, maybe I have to explain you something. Mostly these modes are used for improvisation. And improvisation means we choose these modes for example, for different chords. So, somebody is playing a C major chord, then we can say, okay, we can improvise over that. And we can just take 7 notes of a church mode, which sound beautiful. But which? Well, we can choose for a C major chord, if somebody plays a C major chord, we can choose a C major scale. That's very normal, you can say. Very normal, yes. Common choice. But we can also say, oh well, we can also raise the fourth and make a Lydian out of it. Or we can lower the 7th note and make a Mixolydian sound, Mixolydian mode out of it. So if the chord given is just a C major chord, C, E, G, we can choose these 3 different church modes. And also very important to know is that this F sharp in F Lydian or this B flat in, did I say F Lydian? In C Lydian, F sharp in C Lydian, or the B flat in C Mixolydian, they are also called the characteristic notes or characteristic pitches of the church modes. That is very important to know. So we can say this major sound, this major category, but Lydian, which has a sharp 4, this is really the character of Lydian. The character of Lydian is a sharp 4 in this major context. The C, G must be present, and this F sharp. This is also called the Lydian 4th. The same goes for Mixolydian. We have this flatted 7. So out of the B of C Ionian, we make a B flat to C Mixolydian, and this B flat is called the characteristic note of Mixolydian. So if we play a C major scale, but instead of using a B, we use a B flat, we have this character, this mood of Mixolydian. So it's just one tone different. And also because we need to have a characteristic pitch for all these church modes, we can say the F in Ionian is also considered a characteristic pitch. And I don't want to deviate too much into that topic, but generally you can say it's the pitch which creates the most tension, which really questions the C as a root. Yeah, so if you have C Ionian, you really feel okay. You feel okay. C is a root. But when you go to F, it feels a bit. It goes somewhere else. Also, if you sing the F, but you play a C major chord, it sounds not so good. It's really a half step up from a chord tone, Remember, C, E, G are the chord tones, and you have a half step up from E, our third, to F. So always like these half steps. One note will be in charge of the basic triad, the basic chord, and the other will just disturb the whole thing. And especially if it's a note above the chord tone. Yeah, so the F is a half step above the E. Could be any chord tone. But a half step above brings a lot of dissonant. Or you can also say, instead of saying dissonant, you can say brings a lot of character. So this F is also called a characteristic pitch or characteristic note of C Ionian. Okay, you have the page in front of you, so I don't have to talk too much about the minor thing. You see, you have this Aeolian minor. This is like the minor scale, and the same principle as for major. You can raise the sixth, the A flat, to A. Then you have Dorian. So this A is also the characteristic note of Dorian. So you can also say that's a Dorian sixth. It's also a term used. So it is a minor sound, but it has a major sixth. It has a Dorian sixth. So that makes the character of Dorian, this one note. It's the only difference between Aeolian and Dorian. Also very characteristic for Phrygian is the flat 2. So out of the D of C Aeolian, you make a D flat in C Phrygian. And this also, actually what we just talked about, is a half step above a chord tone, above the root. So this gives us a lot of tension. So if we play this scale, we sing the scale, C, and then we go to D flat, E flat, F, E flat, G flat, C. So we have a lot of tension with this D flat, but very nice and dark tension, you can say. It's a beautiful mode, Phrygian. All of them are beautiful. Maybe Locrian. Oh. Okay, and then we also have a characteristic pitch for Aeolian, that's a flat 6, the A flat. And remember, it's also a half step above a chord tone, above the G, the perfect fifth, the most stable sound, you can say, which stabilizes the whole mode, the C as a root, as a home base. And there's this little ant, you can say, this A flat, and this gives a lot of character and mood, very sad mood, very characteristic for Aeolian. So if I go to this pitch, A flat, I just go up the scale, and you will hear this sad sound. There's also dissonant sound because it's a half step above a chord tone. C, D flat, F, G, A flat, G. A lot of character, a lot of sad mood, a lot of dissonance actually. G, C, B flat, A flat, G, F, G, F, G, A flat, B, A flat, G, F, E flat, D, C, A flat, G, da, da, da. So this is a characteristic note, and I think you hear this also. All this theory is of course not just the theory. It really expresses the sound, the moods of these different church modes. So it's not dry fact here. It's really about music. Okay, and also we can say the flat 5 of the Locrian church mode is a characteristic note of Locrian because it's the only scale, the only mode which has a diminished fifth. And we talked a lot about, in the beginning of this lesson, about this diminished fifths and this the stable, unstable, dissonant, consonant. And I'm pretty sure that by now you know you can imagine why this is a characteristic pitch now, this G flat, the diminished fifths of Locrian. Okay, another thing on this page, it's also a great page because the church modes are structured and they are ordered by its brightness or darkness. So if you go down the page, it's getting more darker. And you also see this with these accidentals. You have the top line, the Mixolydian, it has one sharp. If you go to the second line, this sharp gets just a natural, so it gets a half step down. Then you go even more down by lowering the B to a B flat, and then you're lowering the E to E flat, and then you're lowering the A to A flat, and the D to D flat, and then the G to G flat. So you always, by going one step, one system, one step down, you lower the mode by one half step. So it gets one more flat, or in the case of Lydian and Ionian, the sharp gets to natural. Okay, now at the end of the lesson, the last lesson, third lesson of church modes, I will show you, introduce you to a very, very, very musical and beautiful idea what you can do with church modes, and what is really frequently done also in Raga music and in Maqam and Turkish music, and that is you keep a kind of the root I put on the drone C, and then from that you take a main scale, C major scale, for example, C Ionian, but then you make small changes. You change the F to an F sharp, and then you come into this this total different mood of Lydian, and then I can change a B to a B flat and have a Mixolydian mood, a Mixolydian character atmosphere. I can go to the minor modes, I can go to the Locrian mode, and the how do you say, the art really is how to connect these modes, which kind of note combinations, which kind of melodies will lead us to the new tone, to introduce the new tone. It's not very musical to just say, okay, I play C Ionian, and then puff, I hit an F sharp, now it's Lydian. This can sound very strange, very odd actually, very, very unnatural, and like wrong. But you can make these notes in the right combinations and preparations. You can prepare the melody to then go to the new tone. There you can use this concept very musical to change the church modes and to change the moods. I invite you now to listen to it, and I will improvise this, and we'll just go through the different church modes and listen to the different moods I'm creating here. And later on, you should do this yourself. Okay. Okay, I think you got an idea about these different moods and the theory behind the whole thing of this of these church modes, and we will later on, and also in the advanced lesson, we will come always back to these church modes, because they are, in a way, they are really also, you can call them the basic scales. I mean, in Western music they are really the basic scales, and all the other scales, in a way, they are derived from it. We really think as them, there's a basis, and if you have different scales which differ from them, you say, okay, it's a bit like this scale, but change this or these two notes, and then it's that scale. So in a way, also with a way more advanced exotic scale, they are really, you can really relate them to these 7 basic scales. So it's very important to know, and they are very common also in different cultures, like in Turkish music, in Indian music, in of course in Western music, jazz, and everywhere. They are very, very, very common, very frequently used, and you should really learn these sounds. You should be able to sing them. You should be able to play them, and of course to really understand the theory behind them and these categories. These are very important. Like this page 6, you should really learn by heart. I advise you to really internalize this. Okay, I hope you like the lesson. So if so, please subscribe to my channel. And also there's a possibility to support me. There's a button where you can donate on my website, guitar-academia.com. So thanks for watching. My name is Huub Hildenbrand.